Welcome to the First Blood interview series. As per usual, I'm going to be Seal, joined this week by none other than Evasionyx from Team Almost. How you doing today, Evasion? Oh, can't quite hear you. Hold on. Might be having some technical issues to start this off. Oh, there you are. Okay, I hear you now. Sweet. How
What's
you
up,
doing today,
dude?
man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
All right, so if you guys don't know, then the direction that we've been going in this interview series is that we are going to be interviewing teams that have qualified for the SSL, the Survival Sunday League finale, competing for $5,000. And Evasion of Team Almost is one of the teams that has been able to do so, albeit under the old meta, the old scoring system. So that's one of the teams to definitely be looking at as we move into the new score system as we move into the finale. That being said, before we talk specifically about the SSL and specifically about PUBG, let's talk to you a little bit about like esports in general. So I know that a lot of times I ask people what initially sparked their interest in esports, but I think for you, a better question is, did you even intend to enter esports in the first place?
Well, to start off, I started playing PUBG just because of the mechanics. I think this game is really boring. That's the big reason that a lot of people, may steer in a different direction. But I came from CS:GO, which is a lot more fast paced. And when I got into this game, I don't know what it was. I just loved the mechanics, but it got to a point where I was hot dropping every game,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was really good at the game. And I said, I think I should like play on a team or something because I played CS:GO competitively, but I was not nearly as good as I am at pub. So I looked up on Google. I said, how do you join like PUBG team,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I ended up finding a team, and I tried out for them. It was on Gilded, and I got no response back. I wasn't good
Oh.
enough, I guess. So I was like, forget it. Um, Whatever. I'll just keep playing the way I play. But I was still on Gilded, and it's kind of like a plausible EXP. It's like a miniature version of that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a little server where you could just find people to play with, and it was at this point where I started playing in this server consistently. I would start winning my games, and everyone started wanting to play with me. I was like making a name for myself in this little community,
Mm-hmm.
and out of that little community, they actually had a team, and that team needed a sub one day. So they actually asked me a sub. I was like honored as hell, and I played really well, and they actually offered me a spot on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was with Spank Juiced, D&D Lives Within, and Dead Space. That was my first ever PUBG team. We ended up playing for a long time, and then I thought things weren't really going north anymore. I learned a lot, and I have to thank Spank Juice a lot because he's really crafted me into a lot better player than I started off with. But our team just wasn't doing well anymore. So, we weren't doing better, I should say, and we weren't the best, so it wasn't good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I I decided to leave the team. I started playing with Karangatang, and then we actually had
Ah.
we actually had some difficulties finding a full team, but we were competing in First Blood Sidekick series a lot, and that was our weekly go-to. That's where we first started. That's like the first money I've ever made playing video games,
Oh, that's
which felt
awesome, man.
really good. Yeah, so it felt really good, but it got to a point where Karangatang, he had school and he had a job, so he had to stop playing, and that was like heartbreaking. I thought I was at like my peak. I thought I was gonna keep going up with him, and we had really good synergy. Our play styles were complementary, and we just understood each other like exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, he had to stop playing, so it was time to find a new team.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked, and I couldn't find anyone. And then eventually I found Mime and I found Triptychs, and we were horrible. These guys you see Mime, you see Triptychs, everyone thinks they're cheaters. They're rank 1, they're rank 2 in squads like every season. But we got crushed. Every Survival Sunday, it's
Yeah.
16th place, 14th place, 15th place. But every time, every single game, we said we knew what we were doing wrong. And then we slowly started, doing better and better and better. So it got to the point where we actually won our first Survival Sunday, which was like amazing for me. It was a huge comeback game as well, which made it a lot more fun. Unfortunately, it was the first Survival Sunday that you guys like didn't stream, which made me kind of sad. But it was like playing Survival Sunday for months and months and just losing every time, and finally, having that glory. It wasn't so much about the money. It was just like it felt really good to me because I've been playing it forever, and that was like the first Survival Sunday that I won. It felt really good, and from there, I've been playing with Mime ever since, and we've been continuing to just grow our team and figuring out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, until we're like the best team in the world, which is not going to happen anytime soon. So we're still on that grind every game. We don't actually VOD review, but
that might be a way to get there.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for us because we just like after every game we sit like we look at each other and we say like, why did we do this? Why did we do that? We get mad at each other for this or that, and I don't know. It makes it easy for us. So haven't seen them.
So you mentioned playing in esports. You mentioned playing a little bit in CS:GO, a decent amount in PUBG. But just as a person, like, what sparked that first bit of interest? When do you remember you first learning about and becoming interested in esports?
Well, my whole life, ever since I was 5 years old, my dad got me a GameCube when I was a kid, and I played video games with my little brother ever since. But he never actually liked to play with me because I'd always beat him, so I'd have to start playing games that like were double players. But I was super competitive. I always wanted to win. I always wanted to. It wasn't so much about like playing all these game stories and stuff. I didn't really care for that. I wanted to be good at what I was playing, and so that also carried on to my sports life. Ever since I was 5, I played lacrosse, soccer, and hockey, and I played those for years and years until I was about 13. I dropped soccer and hockey, and I started playing lacrosse and rugby, and I ended up playing rugby on a provincial level. And I only stopped playing rugby when I started playing PUBG because I don't know, I just enjoyed it a little bit more. But I just want to be good at what I'm doing.
So you feel like you kind of have the same mindset for traditional sports as with competitive video gaming and esports? Do you think that there's like a link there?
Yeah. I didn't ever expect to like actually make money playing. I just feel like it's like in my genes to just to just do like to try hard because I come from a really athletic bloodline. My grandpa was in the Hall of Fame for like rugby and lacrosse in Canada. And then it was really, they were really proud of me. Like I've been a medalist at like provincial tournaments and everything. So
congrats, man.
It felt really good to go up to my grandpa and say, hey, like I just did this in esports, like, hey, I'm doing this. And he's all like, disappointed. But when I show him like the results and what we're like winning and everything, and our potential, it feels really good to shove it in his face.
Oh well, I'm glad that you have results to show your family now, because I would hope that it sounds like esports is something that you do love. Do you plan on pursuing like more esports in the future, like more PUBG, and maybe at some point if the PUBG scene eventually ends up fading, do you intend to move on to other esports?
It depends because, like I said, I never actually intended to start playing PUBG competitively. I just really enjoyed the game. And that eventually transpired into me playing so much that I got so good to the point where I wanted to play competitively because I'd just be wasting all the hours I put into the game. So if there is a game that comes out that is that I like as much as I like PUBG, then for sure I'd be playing it competitively, but only like time can tell because I don't know. I don't really like Apex to be honest. It takes too many shots to kill someone.
TTK too high. That's definitely fair. I hope that throughout life you do find more esports to play and enjoy, because you're doing good work here in PUBG. And honestly, seeing someone with like a work ethic like yours getting better every week is pretty awesome to watch. So I hope that you do stick with it.
Thanks,
So
Fuzzy.
when it comes to your growth in esports, and I feel like I probably know the answer to this question, but when, if ever, did you feel as though you'd made it in esports? Do you feel like you're at your pinnacle? Because you mentioned before that once you made money, that was when you thought that was like, oh, this is really cool. But do you think that like, do you think there's a future for you? Do you think you're gonna keep getting better, or do you think that you might have like reached a limit for yourself?
I still think I have a lot to work on, and that is a good like opportunity. Like it's a good mindset to have. I never think I'm the best, and there's always something to work on for every player. And accepting that and working to fix that is how you're going to become better. And that's what I've been doing over the last few months. And I think I'm a lot better when it comes to competitive, when it comes to thinking, and when it comes to just playing pugs. And that it shows. And I hope it like shows for everyone else because I have really been working on it. But the highest point, like the happiest I've ever been was like after game 6 of the third round of MPL qualifiers. We made it. Like we could come 16th both these games with 0 kills, and we would still be top 12. And that's when I really like felt it. Like all these teams, CS:GO teams, I used to bet on and root for. These teams I've been like watching Call of Duty when I was like 8 years old. I'm gonna be like going and I'm gonna be competing against them, and that's really huge, especially coming from a no-name team.
Yeah.
Like ourselves. And I was really excited for that to happen, but unfortunately, luck was not on our side.
You can talk about that if you want or not. I'm not going to push you, but it was a really unfortunate situation, led to them not being able to play an NPL.
Yeah, you can talk about it later whenever it comes up.
We can talk about that now or later. It's up to you, man.
You're the boss.
All right, well, in that case, let's start talking about PUBG in particular, because that is the game that pretty much everyone in chat knows about. That's what we're known for streaming as well. So, what is, I think, that your favorite story from PUBG in particular? So you mentioned before that for NPL, that was like the favorite moment playing of an event that you've played in. But are there any like moments in the game that you remember and you're just like, oh, that's awesome? Like anything like that?
Well, I remember it's not really a happy story, but Mime and I were playing the $200 duos or $500, I think, for Black Friday, and we, I think we won like 2 or 3 out of the 5 of them, and one of the games we were on BMX, that BMX hill on Erangel.
It's the Reddit compound outside mansion.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So we were there, and somebody decided to shoot their BMX over the hill, and so Mime and I were both laying fire into them, and their car's on fire, and then right before we like put the last bullet into them, they slam into the ground and blow up. And it was just in a pug, so we started like laughing, and then we go like, what if like we lose because of that? And then
wait, that killed you?
No, it just, we didn't get the points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so after that happened, I think me or Mime, I can't remember, one of us came first and the other one came fourth, and if we had those 10 points, we would have came first and second. So those two blowing themselves up cost us $75, which was
Oh my god.
really sad to look back on, but it was probably the funniest moment I've ever had.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right, so what is your opinion on the current NA PUBG scene competitively? How do you feel about it right now?
NA scene.
Like there's scrims that run, right? You playing those?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't even know, like when it comes to the battlefield, like I don't know what to expect from these teams. Like everyone does like their own complete thing. Everyone has their own rotations. And like I said, we don't really VOD review that often. So we just like, you really have to just expect the unexpected. Like even though placements don't matter, they're still snakes. Even though like, you know, I just don't know what to expect. And so just like paying attention to these NA players, it's just like, I guess, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't even know what to think about the NA scene.
All right. Weird stuff going on in the NA scene, no doubt due to the new comp settings. Let's go ahead and talk about new comp settings, a little bit more of SSL in particular, after this quick break. But before we go to the break, just a little reminder for you guys that the SSL signups are still up, and we are starting up something new as well. You mentioned a couple of duos events in your past, and we're going to be bringing them back. The Sidekick series is making its return. Settings are going to be 30 duos. It's going to be on Vikendi with comp settings, so loot is going to be jacked way the heck up. And the registration for that is going to open up tomorrow at noon. So if any of you guys have been craving for some duos events, go ahead and check into the app tomorrow. That being said, we're going to be going to our halftime break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Evasion about his time in the SSL in particular and the things this team's been doing in comp therein. See you guys soon.
Oh, I'm muted, dude. What the hell?
Hope you guys are as hyped for that as I am. It's going to be pretty fun. So qualifications are going to be going on for the next 2 weeks there, and then we'll be playing on every other Thursday. Going to be some good old duo action. So hopefully we'll be having some of the regulars in here, and as you saw, there's going to be a good chunk of cash up for grabs there as well.
300 for first.
Yeah. All right. So it's looking at the SSL a little bit more and looking at the new comp settings. Let's just jump right into comp settings right now. So it was introduced partway into the SSL. You qualified the week before in first place. You were playing very, very strong that week in general, but it seems like you've been struggling a bit since then. First, give me your own personal opinion on the SSL and how you think it's affected your team since they've been released.
My opinion on the new comp settings are like the circle settings and the loot and the timing and the new blue zone damage is beautiful. I love the way it forces you in a little bit more, but I think the points are a little bit like too much on the kills. Before you'd see like a third of people's points were from kills and then 2/3 are from placements. Now it's like a quarter to a third are from placement. Like it just doesn't really matter almost. Like you can literally have a 16th every game and still come like top 3.
Depending on how many kills you get, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's overall. I think if they turn the kills down a little bit, it'd be. I'd like it more because I feel like the PUBG or Battle Royale, the core of it, like the objective is last team standing wins, and now it's like deadliest team wins. It honestly, it's fine. My team is we've been practicing it and we're able to adapt to it, and I feel like we're gonna come out strong this Survival Sunday. But it's a new game, and it just takes a little bit of time to learn it.
I remember that when they were released, you were like vehement about it. Like you did not like it at all. Have you balanced out a little bit more on it now?
Well, I didn't actually look at the new settings, but the point system, I still hate it.
Oh, okay. But, so you saw the point system right away, and you're just like, no, and that was where that came from.
But the actual, like, I never looked into it, but the like actually playing it, the blue zone damage, we played scrims and we literally had a game where we had a melee zone in Severny and we died to the blue because we didn't realize how like deadly it was.
Oh, okay.
But the amped up loot and the shorter time to push in, it takes out a lot of that boring. It's boring to watch and it's a little bit boring to play as well. So it makes the game a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fast paced, and that definitely keeps it interesting. I love the new settings, but I feel like the new point system could be a little bit lighter on the kills. I do agree that it should be turned up because kills were like really, really low. You need like a 30 kill just to make up for a win, which is a little bit too much, but or 25 actually, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have turned that up. Yeah, I feel like it should be, right now it's like like I said, like a fourth to a third are your placement. I feel like it should be more like 50-50, Like on average you should see teams getting.
That's what you want. Do you think that you'll see that happen in the future? Because I think a lot of people are pretty happy with things as they are right now.
Probably not. Because in like in comparison to the old settings, like in a ratio to a win, kills are worth 2.5 times more than they were before, which is like insane.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a huge jump, and I mean, lots of teams weren't prepared for it, and I feel like they did it at probably the worst possible time. They just ran these qualifiers in the old settings, and all these teams get pushed into this new setting. Like it's like running football tryouts, and then when the actual league comes, your field touchdowns are only worth 1, and then
you're playing lacrosse. It's almost like you're playing a whole different sport, honestly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah.
So do you, at least from my perspective, it looks like that this change hit Team Almost really hard when it happened. But you also mentioned that you've been doing pretty well in scrims, so and that you're going to show up in SSL. Do you think that you have fully recovered from, honestly, the damage that these settings did to your playstyle?
I think we're just getting to there right now. The before the playstyle came into place, we were trying out something new with Yusugo, and the Survival Sunday that we played it worked perfectly. Basically, like I played, like everyone knows, Mime and I we've played for months and months, and so we really have a feel for each other. You know, we have lots of things we'll say that we don't mean, but we understand. You know, we play really well together, and so that Survival Sunday, you were seeing a lot of Yusugo just sitting back and playing like a
It
spoil, and
confused
Mime
the
and I,
hell out of me.
yeah, it was a really weird play style on paper, but it opened up a lot of opportunity for us. And there was actually a time when we needed Yusugo to be there. We were a 3-man, and we saw Team Ready push this compound that we were right beside, and we knew they were in first. And if we wanted to win this, we were in like third place. We needed them to have a bad game, or not a bad game necessarily. It was still make upable, but we didn't. We needed them to do bad, and we know Team Ready is probably one of the best snaking teams in the world.
Yeah.
So they were rotating through a field. I stole one of their. I killed one of them on rotation, and then we saw them pull up, and we're like, okay, we can kill these guys. You know, kill them. So we did a 3v2, and Yusugo, me, and Mime ended up killing Team Ready. And we ended up winning that game as well. And that landed us, you know, the win for that week.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, but basically every other fight, we'd have Yusugo just chill back. And it really messes enemies up. Like, there was one time when I went down, and Yusugo, the cameras weren't on him or anything. It looked like he was just eating popcorn in the background, but he was like laying fire into these guys, you know? He's like there to like watch our backs, and it just opens up so much opportunity for Mime and I to just do whatever we want. At the end there, it was like when we pushed into that compound, we didn't know it was like the full team in there. Like everyone was on that side. So me and Yusugo chilled back, and we were just kind of watching Mime. And then eventually I pushed in as well, because I wanted those kills too.
I remember this fight.
Leaving Yusugo there, yeah, exactly. Leaving Yusugo there, just having him chill is important, because, you know, if we get shot in the back, he can hit his shots, and that's an easy knock for him. If they're trying to get an off angle, like if any of them wanted to run out to the side to get anything, it's completely shut down. And at the same time, he can still, like, you know, poke at them and take shots from afar.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually the one fight where we lost G-Shove, and it was across the street, and Yusugo was like nowhere to be found. The call was like, Mime's like, oh, there's actually like guys crashing me. Like, what are they doing? And so I was like, okay. So I ran over there. I knocked one. We flushed one, and then I went down, and then Mime went down. We ended up killing them. The whole time Yusugo was just sitting there, because at the time, you know, placement is more important than kills.
Yeah.
And if we lose all of our players there, we were in a good spot in the circle, we'd lose the entire tournament. So we need someone there to just, you know, be our second chance in the game almost.
Do you still play the same way, do you think? Because it seemed like for a little bit for SSL it wasn't quite working.
Yeah. Well, it was our new game plan, and it was what we were working towards. But then right when they released the new system, it really kind of defeated the purpose of having that, because taking the team fight and getting those 4 kills, like having an extra man in battle is and, you know, ensuring those 4 kills is worth like 4 placements. And so that's, you know, that's the difference between a first and a second and like a 6th place. So it's a lot better to just, you know, have the full team. And now it just comes down to whether we should be taking that fight or not. And a lot of teams will opt to, you know, crash things, play aggro, take every fight.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been playing actually pretty passive still.
Hmm.
You don't really need to be rushing everything, taking every fight,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're gonna win the game, the kills are gonna come to you. Especially at the end, if you can be 4 people, it's really easy to just be stealing all the kills, and the end game 10 points plus whatever the last team 4 points even. That's 14 points right there. Even if you just get 4 kills the game, it's just worth 14
Mm-hmm.
kills. Become bottom 8. So it's still worth to play passive, but I
Yeah.
understand all the teams that are you know playing their aggro game, but we haven't really changed
Yeah.
except that one strat we had. We just threw it out because it's not really going to work
Yeah.
anymore.
Do you think that the strat that you've been doing stopped working because it didn't make sense for you to do it with the settings, or is it because other teams changed their styles and it was good against you? Like, do you think that you were wrong, or that it just didn't work against the enemy play styles anymore?
I think it's just the point system altogether because, like I said, like a 4v4 is easy to take compared to a 3v4, and so it's uh it's just easier. It's points are worth so much, so we're just taking advantage of it.
Mhm. By the
So
way, real
it's
quick, if anyone in chat has any questions that you'd like me to ask Evasion, then I'll be taking peeks every once in a while. Dan as well, checking to find the good ones, and we'll ask Evasion at the end. So make sure that if you get any questions, we can answer them now. So, Team Almost, a name that very much sort of exemplifies your underdog status. Do you think that you will make it far with this team? Or how far do you think you'll make it with this team?
um I don't actually know if phase 2 works, but all I know is I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna play, and I expect to get as far as we possibly are allowed to. Whether I think it's contenders we can make next season,
Yeah.
so or phase 2. So we expect to be making contenders. I
Mm-hmm.
expect to have like a top 3 this Survival Sunday, assuming everything doesn't go horrible. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a new game, and we've spent the last 2 weeks adapting to it. We didn't play last Sunday because my PC was in the shop, Yusuga was
Yeah.
out of town, and mine was around. But I fixed my PC. I get a lot better frames now. It's easier to take these fights, um, and we're gonna be looking for them when
Mm-hmm.
in the late game, especially. We're playing contender scrims the other day, and actually half of our points came from placements,
That seems like
and
a lot.
we got out of 6 games we had, I think it was like 65 points, and we came second to a team with 66 points.
Hmm.
And we're just getting top 3 every game, and it really adds up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So like this, we're probably one of the only teams that's going to be snaking anymore,
Yeah, and
along
that
with
actually that makes a lot of sense because I remember watching, I believe it was EPL, and at the point in time when this new point structure was announced, and EU teams were super aggro, except for Team Ready. And Team Ready was like you were right. They were just constantly snaking in, constantly playing passive when they felt like they had to, and it worked for them. So as long as the majority of the teams in the lobby are super aggro and you're not, I think that it'll still be a strat that works. And I really hope for the best for you. Looking forward to seeing in these comp games. So looking at SSL, there's a few weeks left. Of the teams that are in the finale right now, I believe right now a couple of them are like Rarity, Zwei's Bonzo team. Are there any of them that you really fear? Because there's a lot of European teams in there that you might not know much about.
Yeah, we don't really get much practice against the Europeans. So, because the only real practice you could say we get is Survival Sunday. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's really the only time we ever play against Europeans. So we don't know like the meta or the changes or anything. But at the same time, they don't know what we're going to be doing unless they're watching us. So we don't really like have any big fears, and we have high hopes for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we're just gonna go into it.
Do you
See
notice
what
any significant playstyle changes between EU and NA?
happens.
Like do SSL games feel very different, I guess, from the scrims that you play?
We don't play scrims too often. I feel like people don't try in scrims, but when we play SS, we don't really focus on other teams as much as ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing, like even with the new point system, we'll value keeping ourselves alive if that means like giving up a kill. It's more important to keep yourself alive in a game than to get the kill, and that means like playing more passive just with your mechanics. Even can mean like just playing, keeping yourself alive, like not over peaking things, not doing this or that. I suffer from it all the time. Like I'll get caught out, and it happens to the best of us. But I don't know. It's just we don't notice the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
We're just all focused on team almost.
Focus on yourself. I like it. So let's talk a little bit about, we talk about changes that have happened, but let's talk about changes that may happen. What do you think about Vikendi, and do you want to see it in competitive squads and or like duos, or even solo events going into the future here?
Personally, I had the highest hopes for Vikendi. When they released the snow map like 2 years ago, I was like very, very excited. It was the most anticipated map I ever wanted. Like I thought it was just gonna be so beautiful, and it had so much potential, like for all the rocks and mountains, whatever they just had so much potential, and I hate it. It's the worst map I've ever played in PUBG.
Worse than Miramar, you think? A lot of people have strong opinions about Miramar and Sandhog.
Yeah, actually, Miramar is my favorite map.
Really?
It's playing competitive, especially. My team's really good at. Although we dropped Puerto, I think you guys mentioned this one stream. We're really good at being where we need to be, and you can usually find us around the center of the map. Even though we're dropping in these completely just isolated far zones, and it really comes down to playing with what you have. And I feel like in Vikendi there's not much to play with. There's a lot of open areas that just have rocks or trees for cover. There's not many ridges to work with, and there's just a lot of compounds. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you don't get those compounds to at the end game, if you don't get that RNG luck to get those compounds in the end game, it's like it's going to be really, really tough. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of unwinnable games for a lot of teams just because luck wasn't on their side. But at the same time, that's part of the game, and I still do want to see Vikendi being played in competitive.
Well, I don't know how much we'll be able to show you guys duos here soon, and hopefully squads. There's nothing that we've planned right now for squads as of this time, but I would absolutely love to give people the chance to test that out, because I feel like it is one of the things that is, it's like, well, how would it work? Because you mentioned a lot of rocks and trees. There is a lot of hard cover, but a lot of it's like kind of garbage. So, it's hard to tell what is a good spot, what is a bad spot on Vikendi, unless it's like at the end game. The last compound's obviously, and that's obviously the place you want to go to. But before that, it's a lot harder to tell where exactly is a good spot.
So and it's also going to be harder to these compounds that are the spots you want to be in. It's also going to be harder to actually get to them, because you're going to have to take it on foot. You can't be driving vehicles around in this map because it's a slip and slide everywhere. Mm-hmm. And
until they had the snow bike, as soon as it stopped blowing up their servers, apparently, whatever it did.
if you don't have that snow bike, 4 of them, it's gonna look really, really rough for you, especially if you run into teams that aren't in a compound and they're just chilling in mountains, or they're in a rock. You run right by them and they start shooting you. You can't veer off, or else you're just gonna crash. Slide around.
A lot of those.
Yeah, it's gonna be really rough to navigate through that map, and that first zone is really gonna determine like if some teams win or lose, I feel. And there's also a huge lake. It's almost like a military island. If you're caught on one side, it could really lose the game. So I feel like that northern area in Vikendi might be played a lot more in competitive because it is the lake's all frozen, so you're able to run across it. But I'm excited to see like what happens in the competitive scene. It's definitely gonna be like a pug when you first start playing, or when we all first start playing. I feel like in pugs at least it's easy to kill people, to catch them off guard, but that's just because you can hit your shots. When you're got a lot more teams alive, and I feel like the competitive players are really gonna see the difference by not having that much cover when you're getting shot at by 2-3 teams when you're running in from the blue. It's just, I feel like it's going to be a really rough map.
Yeah, a lot of the cover is very one-dimensional, which is going to make it pretty hard to take fights a lot of the time. So, last question before we start taking a couple of questions from chat. What advice do you give to aspiring competitive PUBG or even esports players?
Like a lot of teams or a lot of players have really good networking, which is something I am horrible at. So just like, yeah, exactly. The way I got into the scene at least was just building. I didn't worry about the other teams. Like right now, I worry about Team Almost and what we're doing and how we can do better. I don't care about what other teams are doing, but you have to worry about yourself and whatever that means. If it means leaving your team, if it means watching your games back, if it means watching your PUBG 2D replays, seeing where people are going, what are people's habits or how you can avoid them. I just feel like as long as you worry about yourself and how you can get better, it's bound to happen if you have the potential. Because everyone, obviously you're not a perfect player and there's always something you can work on. If it's aim, hit the aim hero. If it's your game sense, if you're always dying, it's just like it's whatever. You just got to understand what's going wrong and how you can fix it.
I feel like that lesson that you're saying is very much like that's literally how you got to where you are now. So I think I think that's a pretty good mindset to be having. So from Mosity in chat, let me go ahead and pull this up. What has been the toughest thing to adapt to since the conclusion of NPL preseason qualifiers in regards to roster changes, format changes with the competitive settings, and a difference of play style? So after NPL, what's the hardest thing you had to adapt to since then?
Well, after we finally got over the fact that we weren't going to California, we had to focus on like what the new meta was. So it was hard to, because we're trying to, even though everyone knows us to be like we can at least Mime and I, we're definitely gonna be showing off Yusuba and Tanaka in the coming.
Oh, yeah, is that public knowledge? Is this the first time people are talking about Tanaka and Team Almost?
Yeah. Tanaka's actually joining us this Survival Sunday, and that's the first tournament we're going to be playing with him. And we plan on doing really well with him
I'm looking so forward to that.
Yeah. And everything's been going good on in our practice so far, just playing pugs and playing scrims and everything. We definitely like playing on showing them off as well, but Mime and I already have that kind of, we've had our fair share of accusations. We've had our fair share of clips and everything, and we just want to prove to everyone and ourselves that we can be like a tier 1 team.
Mm-hmm. The easiest way to do that is make it to land, buddy. I think you can do it. No, I know that a couple of other players have cleared themselves in a similar way, so I know you can do it too, man. So from HMSSPT, I feel like you know who this is and I do not. Who is your number one supporter? That's your girlfriend? This is a very dangerous question for you to answer then.
Yeah, she definitely is my number one supporter. She's on every second of my streams, and she watched every Survival Sunday. Aww. Even when she didn't understand what was going on. It's really nice to have someone to just be there and support. she understands whenever we do rough, and she's always there cheering us up whenever we do bad. She's like our personal team cheerleader, which is it's nice to have.
Oh man, that's adorable. Hope you guys have a good Valentine's Day today. Anyway, I think that this is gonna be it from us today. Evasion, do you have any more closing remarks you'd like to say to people before we sign off here?
No, just look out for us this First Blood. You know, Dan, I want to see us on the camera. And
all right, well, make sure you follow these guys. Evasion's Twitter is at EvasionYX. Their PUBG team is almost PUBG, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So make sure that you follow them on that one. That being said, that's been it from us today here at First Blood. We'll be seeing you guys this Sunday for the SSL. Don't forget to register in the app, and hopefully in a couple of Thursdays for the premiere of the SKS, the Sidekick series. We will see you guys then. Have a good one.
I will.
They peek up over this hill as a unit, they've got it. If Basso is able to get the knock in the finish.
All right, Eros getting spotted by El Basso here, tries to go for the spray, but M4 at close range beats SLR every time. And the team, we've been talking about all this.
Their odds of making a nice circle.
Whoa, Skokie versus Bonzo running in, gets 2 knocks right away. Well, that was an insane spray. Skokie just getting knock after knock. This guy has like no recoil.
The headshots there.
My God, Marcelic and Morrow, they're just gobbling it up. 7 kills in the first 4 minutes of this game. They got some of them, but I think they had a lot of assists there. The base on the rooftop, and Marcelic blows his head off. He sees Bummer, goes to free fire. One shot will do it. Marcelic getting 6 kills, 9 for Bonzo.
He wants these kills. He
Good
wants
window.
to finish. He peeks the window. He sees these guys. He gets the hip fire. Doesn't connect any of the bullets. He's gonna try for more though. Maddie goes back down. The nade coming out. He's going in onto Rhino. Rhino gets the
that
knock.
right side.
There it is. Oh,
What? Did he just frag his
he
teammates?
fragged his own teammates. He did finish off Maddie as well, but he accidentally fragged his own teammates. And now
Heroes might even see him on the edge of the smoke. He does
does.
get spotted as he prones. No, Dewad, you see him, but his gun was on single. His gun was on single. He got in a fight against Orion. A couple of frags landing near them, but that is a lot of hard cover.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Oh, he saw it coming. He tried to move, but it bounced right on top of him. But luckily, he was able to crawl over to the line and even had the swim grenade ready. And Singularity not really in the super push. A second frag could do it, but this is gonna
That's
be
good.
really hard. No, it's so hard to land. It needs like bounce off the hill over the rocket. That's not gonna happen.
did it!
I didn't think it was gonna happen. What the heck?